mothers, that is a wound that has not healed. And they comfort each other. But these mothers that lost their children don't want to see other mothers lose theirs.
That's right.
The father that lost his son does not want to see other fathers lose their children. But how can we make sure that that does not happen? We have to know what's happening to us as a people. See, you're being socially engineered into behavior that makes you hate one another. Listen to me carefully now, because this is not the work of God. This is the work of Satan.
That's right.
That we are now killing each other like we never did during the darkest days of slavery.
That's right.
Even under a cruel and wicked slave master that was burning us at the stake, ripping our flesh with a cat of nine tails, castrating us, hanging us. Yet, under all of that, in the night, we would come together. In the night, we would pray together. We would sing songs that would encourage one another, and then go back out in the field the next day to pick Massa's cotton or to raise the tobacco and the sugar cane. But we knew that we were the same people. We knew that we came from a common origin. So the slave master, when we became his property, you know how you stamp your brand on a pig or on a horse or on a sheep? Well, he branded us with his name.
That's right.
The name that you carry, that's not your African name. That's the name of the last slave master of your great-grandfather. So if your name is Wood, Brown, White, Green,
Washington,
Roundtree, Willow, Fish, they give you all these crazy names.
We hold on.
Named after the creatures. But you were before the creatures.
That's right.
You are from the Creator. You should have the name of the Creator because you're in the nature of the Creator. Do you know why they love to hear you sing? Do you know why some white folk love to come to black churches? They may not join, but they get the spirit. You know? They come in and they hear you sing. And the Bible says it like this. The master would say, sing me one of those songs of Zion.
That's right.
But the slave said, how can I sing the songs of Zion in a strange land? And the master would say, dance for me. Make me happy. Tell jokes for me. This is in the scripture. See, this is the kind of role that we play. Now, right here on this court, I watch it sometime on TV. And the brothers are so great. You see them going down the court doing kind of like magic. I don't even see that in the NBA, these brothers. Say, but what is that? See, this is you using your time to do something that pleases you, but Master loves to come too. And say, oh, they're all right. They're balling. Thank God they ain't coming after me.
That's right.
What you say? They buying guns to praise the Lord. They're killing each other.
Right. That's right.
Sitting in line.
As long as they're killing each other, they ain't got time to think of me. So I continue to rule while they continue to suffer. I continue to make money while they continue in poverty and want. I continue to use their talent. Sing for me. Rap for me. Come on, I'll put you on my label. Just call your woman a bitch and a whore, and I'll make you a big nigga. Come on and rap for me. I mean, don't even talk like you're civilized. Use that MF. Use that low down, filthy thing, and I'll play you on the radio. So when you're driving in your car, you say, look, man, listen, man, I'm on the radio. I'm talking about that bitch. I'm talking about that hoe. See, never ever let such language come out of your mouth about your female, your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother, your grandmother. No woman should be called a bitch. A bitch in the dictionary is a female what? Dog. So if she's a dog, then you are son of a dog. See, don't even say it. You're not a dog. You are the opposite of a dog.
Supposed to be.
God did not make us in his image and likeness for us to be dogs. I know I use harsh language.
Be real.
But that's in the dictionary. I'm not cussing. I'm just telling you that is not the language that we should be using in talking to our females. Do you understand? Because you're degrading your own mother and you're degrading yourself. Well, what about the word nigger? That's my nigger. Come on. See, the enemy called you nigger. Now you say, well, it's in our language, you know what I mean? It's a term of endearment. But if it's such a term of endearment, why are you killing each other today? That's my nigger, but I'm killing my nigger across the street or the nigger down the road. See, you're not thinking right. You're not acting right. So Paul said, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye what? Transformed by what? The renewing of your mind. Well, the way we are acting, our minds have been messed up, and we need a renewal of our minds. So the scripture says, how can they know except they have a teacher? And how can they have a teacher except he be sent? Well, the enemy's not going to send you a teacher to free you from his grip. That's right. God has to intervene and send you somebody to raise your level of consciousness.
That's right.
Thank you.
I thank Allah for my teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thank him for what he gave to me. And I thank God for the heart that he gave me, full of love. That's right. For our people.
You have spun that into the fact where the victim is now the perpetrator and the perpetrator is now the victim. And that just drives me crazy. You're watching 30 frames a second again. I hope I got some audio. Obviously I was in the back because that's what I do. I always mess up my show in the beginning. Veronica has given me a shot. Veronica Kitt was out in Harlem at Rucker Park. And she got that footage exclusively. That's today. Minister Farrakhan in Rucker Park, and he was speaking on a few things. The first words out of his mouth, obviously you caught, was the slave name, branded like a pig. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was wood. And I know it. He's right. Everything he said was correct. That's why we ran it. Fortunately, you are probably the first people to see any of this footage on television. Veronica will be showing more of it at some other times, 30 frames a second, her show, whatever. But it is our pleasure to be able to present that to you. She literally ran from there to here to put it on so that you could see some of it. As we like to say, this is Black Power Tuesday. And it is my good fortune to present to you a good friend of mine, a good brother, an original Black Panther, B.J. Johnson, because they're having the Black Panther Film Festival at Maysles Theater, and he's going to give you the dates of it. And we're going to be kicking it live. Obviously, 30 frames a second deals with not just historical aspects of our struggle, but how we relate in the world today and how we move forward. And we're going to kick it. We're going to exchange ideas, and we'll see how it goes. But with that, it is my pleasure, my brother, my black brother. It's the third time you've been on there, so I'm going to have to, you know, make you the co-host, you know, send you a check or something.
I appreciate it, tell you the truth.
Excellent, excellent. First things first, let's talk about the film festival and some of the films that's going to be aired, and then we'll get into some detail as to some of the things that's going on today, some of the lessons we learned from some of the films that's going to be shown.
Okay, the film festival is on September 28th, 29th, October 5th, and 6th. It's 2 weekends.
Okay, so that's this Friday, this Saturday, right? And the weekend after.
The weekend afterwards.
Correct.
And the theme is we want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. Education that teaches our role in the present-day society. And we picked films related to what's happening today and what happened in the past to educate the youth and remind some of the adults some of the things that's happening to black people today. It's nothing new. It's nothing new.
Some of the films specifically.
For example,
we seem to have some sort of short. I don't know what it is, but there seems to be some sort of short either in the speaker system or my microphone. Or okay.
The story.
You hear that? Anyway. Yeah, that's your camera right there.
Okay, the story of Emmett Lewis Till.
Emmett Till.
Yeah, this is the story of what happened to him back in the days, and this was back in the 50s, I believe. And he was beaten for whistling at a white woman and thrown in the river. Now his mother, when she got the body back, she left the casket open so folks all across the world, all across the country could see the bruises and what they did to her son. And this, for that generation, was part of the impetus of the civil rights movement.
Now, not to cut you off, but not coincidentally, it was a black magazine that showed that. It was Jet Magazine. Jet Magazine was the only, you know, so when they talk about the need for us to have our own venues, our ability to tell our own story, if not for the fact that there was a black magazine, a little tiny black magazine.
That's right.
It looked like a little TV guide type size.
And put it on the cover.
Put it on the cover. That historic footage would never have been seen by anyone because they did not want her to do that. And in
nobody wanted her
defiance,
to do that.
she said, "I'm going to show you what you did to my baby boy."
That's right.
Which was a bold move, and it took black media to present that, just like you saw Farrakhan today on Black Media. Tell us about some of the other films.
Okay, and then Every Mother's Son. It's a story about three mothers, Mrs. Diallo, Mrs. Bush, and Iris Baez. Their sons were killed by the violence of the New York Police Department. And this just shows what they went through and the situation like we relate to what happened with the Black Panther Party. Back in 1967, Denzel Dow was killed by the police in Richmond, California, with his hands up, and they shot him in the back. So this shows you that what happened in '66 is happening today. And what defined our generation, we decided that, no, this was not happening no more, and the Black Panther Party armed themselves and patrolled the police. Now, we just want to know, between Trayvon Martin, Amadou Diallo, Sean Bell, this is what is going to be the response from this generation to attack on the black people and our black youth?
Now, the Trayvon Martin is similar in nature to Emmett Till in that it was not done by the police department. It was done by white people, and basically it was done because, as in Jim Crow, there still seems to be no law that relates to black people that white people are bound to respect.
Not at all.
There's been some interesting turn of events in the Trayvon Martin case, not the least of which is the fact that his fingerprints, no DNA was found upon the weapon of George Zimmerman or the holster of George Zimmerman, which tends to discredit his testimony that Trayvon Martin was reaching for his gun. They struggled over the gun because no DNA related to Trayvon Martin was found on the weapon. So we'll see how that plays out. But Trayvon Martin, just like Emmett Till, was just murdered by people who weren't even the police.
That's exactly right.
You know,
that's the correlation we try to show.
Correct.
This continuation happens. So what is this generation going to do?
Well, yeah. And that's, I like to say sometimes that in order for something to be history, it has to stop.
Yes.
If it doesn't stop, it's just non-stop current events.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of things that have not stopped. When you talk about Amadou Diallo, in a lot of ways, is more in line with what happened to Fred Hampton. You
exactly.
know, where it was, or Sean Bell. It was just a police massacre of a black man with, and in the case of Sean Bell and Amadou Diallo, the justice system did nothing about it. As a matter of fact, if it is at all possible to blame the victim and the victim's parents for the most heinous act you can think of, that was the case, you know.
That's what they did when they, even Fred Hampton. Justifiable homicide.
Right.
They justified him wantonly killing him.
Right.
But as in the case of Fred Hampton, which that movie, we're going to be showing that on Friday, October 6th. But what happened with that, the people of Chicago were so fed up with Hanrahan, the prosecutor, the mayor, that their political careers died with the death of Fred Hampton. And ultimately, it led to a black mayor, Howard Washington, being elected. So that defined what that generation did to fight back. We have to fight back, and somehow, anyhow, like Bunchy Carter said, if you only spit, just do something, brothers and sisters. And we're going to juxtapose some of this to some of the things that the minister said, Minister Farrakhan said. Yes.
But one of the main things he spoke of is the unbelievable level of miseducation that our children are going through now. If you think we were miseducated historically, the miseducation of the black man, the black youth, is just at unbelievable levels today. For those who don't know, because a lot of young people don't even know who Martin Luther King was. Who was Bunchy Carter?
Yeah.
Who was Bunchy Carter?
Bunchy Carter was the leader of the Southern California chapter of the Black Panther Party. He was in charge of a gang called the Slawsons. He met Eldridge Cleaver in jail, and Eldridge Cleaver turned him around. And when he came out of jail, he turned his gang around, and they became the Southern California chapter of the Black Panther Party. And he was murdered by FBI agents on the campus of UCLA, him and John Huggins. And this is what happens with our leaders. They really came at the Black Panther Party hard to try to destroy us, and they did. Matter of fact, they short-stopped the organization, but Panthers are still alive. And what we're trying to do with the film festival is to educate you And also,
Yeah, and that's your camera over there.
also on Friday,
Yeah.
10/6, October 6th, we're going to have a film called Black Power. And it takes a critical look at the Black Panther Party, our successes, our failures, and our mistakes. I can't sit here and tell you that we didn't make any mistakes. And the mistakes might have been perpetrated by COINTELPRO, but we want you to come and see, so when you attack this system and try to change the system for the better, you can learn from our mistakes and don't do it again.
Yeah. Don't worry about cameras. Just talk to me.
And don't
Now, you said a mouthful. When you talk about some of the mistakes that was made by the Black Panther Party, well, there was a lot of things that were tremendous things about the Black Panther Party that has not been stated. We're going to get to some of the mistakes that anyone would make in starting organizations, starting something from nothing, and that something growing into something great. But you mentioned Bunji Carter being a gang member coming out of jail and became one of the founding members of a political organization that rocked the world. And a lot of times we think of the Black Panther Party only in terms of their guns, and I mean we think of the guns, the TAMs, the 10-point program, and the mystique of these black men holding guns. What we do not, and I was fortunate, Gregory Javon Mills, who is the director of the the Museum of African American Cinema uptown, who's situated in the State Office Building, has some archival footage. And working with one of my producer directors, Kenny Ryan, we were able to view some of that footage, and he has footage of Bobby Seale at the State Office Building, archival footage of Bobby Seale talking that Kenny's going to air in next month in October. So will Greg Mills, and we also have archival footage of Judge Bruce Wright that they're going to be airing in the near future.
They didn't like him.
But one of the things that Bobby Seale alluded to that very few people talk about is the sheer genius of the Black Panther Party. That Huey Newton himself had just come out of jail and they had started the Black Panther Party. But Huey Newton was also studying law.
Exactly.
And everything that the Black Panther Party did was meticulous in nature. It was legal and lawful, and every aspect of it was grounded and rooted in law. Right. Even when and where they could carry their weapons, which weapons they were, how they would get their weapons. They were meticulous in making absolutely sure that they did not break any laws. As a matter of fact, Bobby Seale spoke of some of the inconsistencies, some of the BS inconsistencies that was in the movie Panther, where they had the Black Panther Party purchasing their guns illegally in some way. Right. And again, Huey P. Newton was grounded in law. Every single aspect of what they were doing was designed to be legal in its implementation and how how everything was done. So just the sheer concept of the Black Panther Party of Huey Newton and Bobby Seale and Bunji Carter and any of those guys doing something illegal was not how it was founded. Every aspect of it was conceived of in a way that was just genius. So a lot of people who see the Black Panthers, you know, and you see the pictures and the posters and the films, and you think of these radical guys. These guys were geniuses. Exactly, I mean, the mode of dress. He talks about how when they decided on what to wear, that the black community itself would never ever except a group that was not meticulous in their dress. They talked about how they got the Red Book, Miles Red Book from college, and sold a copy so that they could buy the guns.
Exactly.
And you'll be hearing about all of that in the future here on MNN.
Oh, wow.
But when you talk about the history of the party, when you talk about the history of the movement, when you talk about black people, the history of black people, don't get it twisted. We are one ingenious group of people.
Oh,
this
no
is
doubt.
not just a ragtag organization, a ragtag group of dysfunctional people. Everything that we do is well conceived, and everything our adversary does is well conceived. That's why he attacks us at an intellectual level, even more so than a level of who's armed and who's not.
Also a political level.
A political level, which is an intellectual level.
Okay,
Right,
Senator
right,
Milford
right.
introduced a bill in Sacramento, California,
Right.
to make that law about carrying guns no more.
Correct.
Just to disarm the Panther Party.
Correct.
See?
Correct.
And so some of these changes we created, which was a negative for the people because now we couldn't carry guns to patrol the police officers.
Right.
But then we had the free breakfast program.
Right.
You see, we fed we fed the children all across this country.
There's an interesting phenomenon that's happening today. And we were going to show some of the footage from Riverside Church, the mass incarceration thing. And one of the interesting phenomena today, when you have Michelle Alexander talking about the caste system, the
new Jim Crow.
The new Jim Crow. There is also a new type of Panther, and the camera, in a lot of ways, has replaced the gun. And the camera seems to be more effective and more feared than the gun. You know, because unlike the gun, you know, you can shoot the camera all the time and display it to the world in much the way we just did that footage that Veronica brought in.
All right.
You know, so a lot of stuff is on camera now that has just devastated dysfunctional police units.
And Bobby Seale, he talks about this. This is a technological age. And you could take a footage of a policeman beating somebody up and put it on Facebook, put it online, bam, 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 without going through the media, which is against us. Some of that stuff they wouldn't show.
That's true.
But now, sometimes I wish that we had some of that back in that days, and who's telling where the Panther Party would be today.
Be correct.
But I challenge
black people, not just the Black Panther Party.
Exactly.
Black people.
But I challenge this generation to seize the time and use that technology to help fight the system and make change.
Correct.
That's
correct. That's why I'm so proud of people like you and your generation who have gone through so. I mean, it's me too. I'm an old fart too.
No, you don't look that old.
You ain't see me limping here. But no, it is incumbent upon our generation to educate this generation. This generation has gotten so off track. I mean. I like to tell some of the young people who talk about they don't have fathers, you know. But the crap that they're listening to, the materialistic crap they're listening to, you don't even need a father. Any whore in the street can tell you the crap that you are espousing. You don't need a father. You need a Kanye West record, or, you know, to teach you how to be a greedy whore.
We had Gil Scott. We listened to progressive music, what they call message music.
Correct.
And I think the record industry, purposely, because when rap started, it was message music.
Everything is on purpose. Correct.
But now they won't even. I know M1. He's a progressive rapper, and I talked to him. He was signed to a record label. They gave him the advance, and then they put his music on the shelf.
Right.
They wouldn't even play it.
Right. They do that a lot. They do that a lot. They sign you up so they can kill you. Right.
To get his stuff back.
Right.
Because they would rather you talk about what Farragon said in the piece you just showed.
Correct.
Bitches and hoes and niggas.
Right.
That's not conducive. That's why we
Right.
say we want education
Right.
that teaches us our true history
Correct.
and our role in this decadent American society.
In a lot of ways, and I'll say this, and you know, certainly no black leader who is no black. I won't even say leader, but no leading black who is in need of white money, be it in liberal media or conservative media, will ever say what I'm about to say. But in order for this world to advance, the white man cannot be the primary influence of the United States of America.
Oh, wow.
And
You said a mouthful.
I'm gonna say it point blank. And there are many black people whose money, whose finance, whose well-being is incumbent upon taking money from the white media. So even if all the white men in the world were gone, his mindset is still prevalent because say what you want, Kanye West, most of those people in the liberal media, the black people I'm talking about in the liberal media, most people who are in the entertainment industry, black people I'm talking about specifically, are basically white people in blackface espousing the same kind of dysfunctional crap, the same greedy, dysfunctional, self-serving crap that they have to espouse that is destroying everyone and everything. The irony of it all is that they seem to be feeding upon themselves now. It's like a cancer that it's like starvation. When you're starving, your stomach starts eating itself. This racist mindset, this self-serving, this greedy mindset, where even talking about the richest, the 1%, the 1.5%, because $250,000, that's another thing I want to tell you. You hear Chuck Schumer tell you some crap about, people who make $250,000 a year, not millionaires, they're not rich, they're struggling. Bull crap. 1.5% of all Americans, all American households, not individuals, American households make over $250,000 a year. So even $250,000 a year is a very rarefied atmosphere that most people will never see in their lives in time. 98% of all Americans will never, ever have a household that generates $250,000 a year. So when they tell you they're not millionaires, well, no, they're not millionaires. But damn, how close do you have to get before you before you can kick in $5 in this pool?
That's right. That's right.
But they are starting to cannibalize themselves, and it's incumbent upon us to become more and more knowledgeable. That's why I really appreciate Maisel's.
Education.
Right. We have to become smarter. We have to become more educated.
And it's something like when I was a kid, I was made to read Malcolm X, Man-Child in the Promised Land.
Right, Claude Brown, right.
Before the Mayflower.
Right, came before the Mayflower.
From the back of the bus with Dick Gregory.
Right.
What are our kids, I'm talking to the parents now. What books are you giving your children to read?
Right.
I mean, that's where the true education, some stories about our history, so our children will understand where they came from. And I'd just like to invite everybody to the opening reception for the Black Panther Party Film Festival. And that's Thursday at 6:30 p.m., 310 West 43rd Street. We got the book with Jamal Joseph called Panther Baby. And he was 14 when he joined the Black Panther Party. Aaron Dixon, My People Are Rising, Memoirs of a Black Panther Party Captain. He was 19 when he started the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party. And that was the first chapter outside of Oakland back in 1968. And of course, we got the legendary Herb Boyd, Professor Herb Boyd. He wrote a book by any means necessary.
Let's take a call, and then you can get back and tell us some more about the film.
Sure.
I hope the caller is up, but we're going to find out in a minute. If not, you're going to have to bear with us, caller. If the caller is there, put the call through. I don't know if I brought the pot up for the calls. I hear something. Just bring it up a little.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my call is in reference to rap. In my memory, wasn't Jocko Henderson the first one to introduce rap back in the day?
Oh, Jocko? Rap was not the aberration that it is today. There is nothing inherently offensive or evil about the form of music known as rap. The mindset of the artist, you know, they say don't blame the player playing the game, but it's the player that hit you below it's the player dealing from the bottom of the deck. It ain't the game, the game don't load the dice. That's the player. The players today, there's nothing wrong with rap, and to even suggest that anyone invented rap is a misnomer, because the art form of music, lyrical poetry, especially that relates to the environment around, has been around a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
In walk Bud.
Last poet.
That's right. yeah. But you might be right about Jocko, because Jocko has been around a long time. Jocko is certainly a rapper. Frankie Crocker was a rapper.
Sure.
What's the brother name who did the jazz stuff?
Gil Scott.
Gil Scott was a rapper. We've been rapping a long time, you know. So that in and of itself is not a new phenomenon. And I'm not talking about the art of rap in and of itself. I'm talking about the dysfunctional, clownish presentation of black people as it relates to an art form.
Right. The change of the message. Rap used to be positive.
Right.
It made you want to and do something about your situation, and gave you understanding. This gives you negative connotations.
Right. And it's not just the difference between positive and negative. It's loveless and greedy and foolish and abhorrent. You know, I mean, I can think of no time when an art form in and of itself was just totally devoid of any love at all. You know, it's just hateful and greedy. You know.
That's a very good analysis.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've had artists, you know, who sing songs or do poems about some no good, dirty buzzard, but then they'll do another one that's about, you know, love and family. But we have been so miseducated in the things that we do, and it's not just rap. I wish it was just rap. One of the problems is that it seems to me that for the first time, old folks want to be teenagers, you know, as opposed to young folks wanting to be grown. Grown folks want to be young, so they're more dysfunctional than their children, you know, in the way they teach them. But tell us some more about some of the films.
Okay, and we also now on Saturday, September 29th at 7 p.m. we have a film that Jamal Joseph made about Sonia Sanchez. Now
speaking of rap.
There you go, poetry.
Right.
And she's been around a long time. She started at San Francisco State in the Black House with Emory Douglas and Mary Baraka. That's when he was known as Leroy Jones.
Right.
Danny Glover was involved in all of that. Emory Douglas was all of it.
Right.
And this is where our cultural history for the movement was started. And it's a story about Shake Loose the Memories. It's talks about her travels, and she's an activist, and it points all that out. And maybe if some of our hip-hop artists will become activists, it might change their message to the people. I don't know.
Well, I think that we have to cultivate a whole new generation. I think that a lot of this generation has become belligerently ignorant. And they're very, very difficult to reach. First of all, they're snotty little snot rags, you know, and with delusions of grandeur. And a lot of young people have you know, have them believing that they're some sort of kings and queens, you know, when much of what they say is just completely stupid. And again, they're not paying me, so I don't care. I'm gonna tell the truth. But that stuff.
I try not to give up on them. You know?
I'm not about to lose the whole caravan because they had this movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
And this chimp Caesar was like, you know, taking this medicine, you know, and he was doing sign language. We got calls. We'll take the calls. I'll go back to caller. You can call in now. Yeah. They're probably mad at me because I cussed at their heroes. Yeah, you can put the call through if the caller is there.
Hello?
Hi, how you doing, caller?
Hello.
Fine, thank you. I'm enjoying the program so much, and I'm glad that you're doing this.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
I think the jazz rapper that you were talking about, the cat's name is Babs Gonzalez.
Well, no, that's not what I was talking about, but that's excellent. That's excellent because it just shows what I was trying to say was that this rap thing goes back a ways.
Yeah, this cat Babs Gonzalez, I think he was doing it like in the bebop era. And then you got, like you talk about Gil Scott-Heron, Sonia Sanchez, Gil Scott-Heron. They had the Black Poets, the Watts rappers.
Correct.
Then you got like current cats that don't get the play that they should, like KRS-One.
Oh, lots of them. Right.
Science all the time.
Right.
Then you got this cat. There's a couple of cats out there, but like you said, the ones with the messages, they get pushed away, put up on the shelf, and they don't get listened to. So the young people that might listen to that stuff don't get a chance to listen to it because they don't allow them to listen to it.
Right. And that's the sad part is that they don't have an opportunity to even compete. You know, so you don't even know whether or not an audience is there because they will not allow them to produce their product and have a stage for it.
Right, because
that's a good point.
When I'm 57 myself, so I'm not really from that hip hop era. So I was basically not trying to hear the rap.
Right.
But I had a younger neighbor, and he used to come over, and I used to turn him on to jazz, all the world music, and stuff like that. So he asked me about hip-hop. So I said, nah, man, I don't really listen to that because it's not really happening. So he goes, no, there's some people that you should check out. And then he pointed me to like groups like A Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, KRS-One, and I said, wait a minute, I can't throw the baby out with the bathwater here. So I started conscious rappers out there, and there's quite a few of them, but you will not hear them because they will not allow us to hear them.
All right, my brother, I got a few more calls. I really appreciate your call. It's right on point, and thank you for calling. Keep listening. We'll try not to insult you with some dumb crap. We'll try to keep inspiring you to call.
Okay, my brothers.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Next caller, if you're there. Hello, caller. How you doing?
All right, brother. First of all, Nat, once again, you got one of the world famous award-winning shows again.
Thank you, brother.
I want to put out there that there's an artist named Lupe Fiasco.
Fiasco, right.
Yeah, the brother came out with this single called Bitch Bad.
Right.
So it's real good about the double entendre related to that word in the black woman.
Right.
You know, I have a son and a few youngsters and whatnot. Now, I grew up listening to hip hop. I watched it become what it had, you know. And unfortunately, the way society is now, first of all, you need elders and whatnot to guide the youth. But right now, it's basically the blind leading the blind.
Right.
And I try and put, even though like a lot of youngsters can't stand me whenever I come around when the radio comes, I always point out, why are you bobbing your head to somebody that's bragging about being richer than you and got your girl in the car and bragging about how she smiled in your face after he done did his business with you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they get mad, and, you know, nobody wants to hear an older person talk and whatnot. And that's sad, because when you reject the words of an elder and whatnot, you reject the knowledge. You know,
Right.
and a lot of these young people think they have this thing where they say, I'm grown. They like to run around talking about they're grown, but then again, they go into an apartment that somebody else is paying rent for. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right.
somehow, the illusion of money has become freedom unlike
Right,
the days when
right.
being dignified and self-respect and self-esteem were the buzzword. Now it's all about money. Once you get money and whatnot, you free.
Right.
Even though your
They're trying to
brain-
turn my son into a crack whore.
Exactly. But you try,
Yes, sir.
you know, and another thing, you know, I live right across the street from Rucker Park in Wrangle houses. There weren't no flyers announcing this brother speaking and
Right,
whatnot.
right. And I heard there was no real media. Right.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? We got to organize better. Yo, I love my black people. Y'all stay up.
I love you
All
too,
right,
brother.
brother.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Well, we have another call. You can put the call through if the call is still there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
How you doing, my brother? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brothers. Let me say, it's good to hear what you're saying. But when you speak about rap, you got to think about the griots of Africa.
Okay.
You got to speak about the griots of Africa. It's a long way. And when you talk about coming in the jazz scene, you have to speak of Oscar Brown.
That's who I was. That's the name I was trying to think of. I knew sooner or later one of you guys would put me in my place and put me in the right direction. Thank you, brother. In walk Bud. Yeah, Oscar Brown. Yeah.
Signifying monkey.
Yeah, right.
And my brother BJ there needs to tell you what part of the 10-point platform and program where we want education.
We want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present-day society. Let me add something. One reason why the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, said the Black Panther Party free breakfast program is the most dangerous event in America and it had to be stopped was because we were teaching our children when they came to our breakfast all across the country, we was teaching them the true nature and the history of this country, stuff that they were not being taught in school. And remember, J. Edgar Hoover wanted to prevent the rise of a black messiah. And the Black Panther Party were training black messiahs. So that's why the U.S. government decided to start breakfast program in all the schools all across the country. And when that happened, the attack against the Black Panther Party intensified. They came out and really intensified the destruction of this organization. Does that answer your question, my brother?
My brother BJ, that's all I want you to do is give him the education. Brother Bullwhip, all power.
My brother. All right. And let me say this because one of our callers spoke about the fact that it's difficult to relate to young people because they reject the teachings of their elders. Every single group, every single ethnic group that respects their elders and their ancestors are successful. The fact that we reject the wisdom of our elders is part and parcel to our condition.
That's right.
Every single group, every country, every ethnic group that respects the wisdom of Chinese,
Ooh, I seen
that
that.
respects the wisdom of their elders are successful. Everyone who rejects the wisdom of their elders is doomed to fail. It is the only way you can move from point A to point B is to understand what has gone before you and how to navigate through that. So the reason why we are catching hell,
right.
the reason why we are catching hell, a large part of the reason is because we have gotten to a place where we reject the counsel and the wisdom of our elders. And until we rectify that, we are doomed to failure.
Right. My mother used to have a saying. She used to say, BJ, if I told you there's a hole down the road and you continue down that road and you fall in that hole,
Right.
I told you.
Right.
But then she also said, come back, I'll pick you up and dust you off and tell you again how to avoid that hole in that road. And I'm talking to the youth, the new generation. We can tell you how to avoid that hole in that road.
Right, right, right. And I also want you to make sure that you understand that when other people tell you this, that, what to believe, what not to believe, almost 100% of them want something from you.
Yeah.
They want to capitalize on something that you have to offer. When I talk to my children, my grandchildren, the only thing I want is for them to be successful. I don't want you to get rich so I can spend your money.
Right.
I don't want you to get a big house so I can live in your house.
Right.
I want you to be successful and wise and be able not only to advance in your own life, but teach my grandchildren and
That's
my
right.
great-grandchildren
That's
for
right.
1,000 years. So also, when you're listening to people, make sure you consider their motivation for what they're trying to tell you. The stuff that you listen to on the radio, their motivation is to make money. And irrespective of whether or not you agree or disagree, the fact of the matter is most of the money they make is from white people. White people go to their concerts, white people buy their CDs and their DVDs. So they are, although they holler nigga, 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 and shoes, 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 and shoot you, shoot you, shoot you, you are not the target market.
No, not at all.
You are not the target audience. You are part and parcel to the dysfunction. You are the thing they pimp. You are not the thing that is being cultivated to succeed.
That's right. But you don't see the white kids taking on the
white
negativity.
kids don't have to. They're
this rap.
They're in place to rule. They're not in place to serve. We got another call. We're running out of time, so I want to make sure I take this call before we run out of time. And I really want to give you a chance to re-up on what you're saying. Caller, if you're there, how you doing?
Hello.
Hi, how you doing? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm calling. I'm really listening to you. I love the show. I've heard you before.
All right.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to put out 4 words there for the folks. And the first 2 are control and analyze. And you mentioned the control already. When people are talking to you, you've got to find out what they're planning. And it's control. They're trying to control what you do. The other thing you have to do is analyze. You ask them why. And that's what our 99%ers have to do.
Right.
And that's even with the kids, with the rap, with the everything.
Right.
Why are they doing this?
Okay.
And if they can remember those 2 words only, I won't even go on. The last one is class and race. Those 2 have to go out the language. But the 2 that have to stay in there is control and why.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister.
Right on.
Yeah, there's nothing I can add to that because that's dead on. Talk about the film festival again. We only got like a couple of minutes left.
Okay, first of all, let me give you my email address so you can send me your email address and I'll send you the information. BJ710NYC@gmail.com.
Now do it again slow.
BJ710NYC@gmail.com. Now on Thursday the 27th, we're going to be at the Martin Luther King Labor Center with our opening reception and book signing. On the 28th and the 29th, we're going to be at Maisel Cinema in Harlem, 343 Malcolm X Boulevard, between 127th and 128th Street. Friday is at 7 p.m. Saturday, 2 films, 4 and 7 p.m. And then the following weekend, Friday at 7 p.m. Oh, I didn't tell you about this one. The Life and the Tragic Death of James Byrd.
Oh, who is James Byrd? You got 2 minutes. Tell him.
He was dragged. Matter of fact, he was drinking with these guys in this community, and they tied him to the end of their truck and dragged him through Texas.
Until what?
Until he died, until his head fell off.
Till his head fell off.
And this happened. This is why we say it's a continual thing that they're doing to our people. And I challenge this generation, it's your turn to fight back.
Okay, we got 1 minute left, so
BJ710NYC@gmail.com. Saturday, the murder of Fred Hampton and Black Power. And I'd like to tell this generation, I can't throw the bricks no more, but I can hand them to you. So come on out and get some education from former Panthers.
I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank my guests.
I appreciate it.
We have the smartest audience in the history of audiences. We got a couple minutes left, so I'm gonna pick his brain. But yeah, I got Panthers calling in. I have people telling you about control and to analyze where people are coming from.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of a name. Brother, come up with Oscar Brown. That's who I'm thinking of.
I love your audience.
Griots. You know, when we talk about who started what.
Yeah.
And
that's how our history travels.
Are you gonna have some panel discussions?
Oh, wow. Yes, with Herb Boyd, Keith Beaucamp, the filmmaker of The Murder of Emmett Till on Friday night. Then we have the mother from Every Mother's Son, Mrs. Rosario.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That's my
Also
heart.
the filmmaker, Tammy Gold. And on Friday, the 5th at 7 p.m., after the film The Life and Tragic Death of James Byrd, we have Ricky Jason Skyped in from Texas, and he's going to be on our panel. And he had a problem. They wouldn't screen his film in the city where this happened. And this is like 10 years ago, and it's still a political firestorm. They wouldn't screen it. And at one time, they had to put a fence around James Byrd's grave because someone was desecrating his grave. After they killed him, they want to desecrate his grave.
I'm going to have to wrap this up. I want you to make sure that you support the film festival. Support Maisel's Theater. It's right there in the middle of Harlem on Lenox Avenue. Make sure you go in there and support this institution that we have. I want to thank my producers back there, Veronica Kitt, Luciera, Kenny Ryan, for all the incredible footage they bring, the incredible work they do. I want to thank you, the viewing audience, for being the best damn audience that money can buy, even though I ain't pay you a dime. We will see you next week. Peace, love, and soul.
Hey! All right, Don Cornelius.
That's right. That's right. Give on it.
Yes.